let's go, let's go. Come on, say. Yeah. Everybody in the house say, we about you Lord in this place.
God bless you, my friend. Dr. Ray Johnson here. Welcome to another edition of Monday's Meal. I am your host tonight for Monday's Meal. More manna to move you towards your life mandate. Wow, what a powerful weekend we have had in the Walk of Dominion. The launching of Begin Again University. Very much needed conversation to help you navigate through moments of crisis, chaos, and confusion. Whether you've been starting over in any area of your life, we want you to know that you can always begin again. But tonight is Monday's Meal. Tonight is the moment where we take a few minutes to help you begin to move toward your life mandate. And I'm your host, Dr. Ray Johnson. I'm so glad that you tuned in. You know, we had a very, very powerful month this month in April. May proves to be the exact same way, or looks to be the exact same in terms of its impact into our lives. Just on last evening, I talked about how to recover from a life crash, And I think it's important to know that life's going to happen to everybody. Each and every one of us, we're going to have moments where there are going to be crashes in our lives. But the issue is, how do we handle the crash? You know, I begin to teach from the topic area about the shaping of destined leaders, that leaders with destiny in their lives, and each and every one of us have a destiny that's been heaven assigned to each and every one of us. But in order for the destiny to be filled, we've got to be shaped and to be ready to handle the fulfilling of the destiny that's laid out for each and every one of us. Consider this with me for a moment. I'm going to say it again. That leaders are shaped with times, process, plus response. We're shaped by time, times, process, plus response. Pending what your response is to the moment you find yourself in determines whether or not you actually come through the process and you're actually developed and ready to walk in the destined moment. Well, last night we talked about crashes. Life crashes, whether it's a divorce you've experienced, whether it's having to drop out of a school, the loss of job and a career, whether it's a moment where you're struggling with a family issue, with a teenager or a spouse or extended family members, the relationships beginning to go south a little bit. Things are crashing all around you. People have got a different perspective of you all of a sudden, based upon innuendo, or maybe it is, I've got to now enter into the market a different way in my business. But all of a sudden, I'm not getting access to the loans. The interest rates have gone up. Nobody's checking for my product. Nobody's paying attention to me. I want to help you understand your response to that determines how you're going to be able to navigate through it. And we looked at Saul becoming Paul as our character study. We checked him out on the road to Damascus, and we learned a few things about crashes. He had a crash moment as light began to shine from heaven, and all of a sudden he went blind. And I made the statement, have you ever had a moment where you thought you knew something, thought you understood something, thought you had something down, and all of a sudden a light shines, illuminates your understanding. You realize you didn't know as much as what you thought you knew. And you end up finding yourself in the midst of a crash. Well, we said last evening that the way out of a crash is that you've got to begin to trust, you got to begin to try, and you got to be willing to be taught. Remember the Apostle Paul, he went blind, he's staggering around, he's got to put his hand in somebody else's hand to help him be able to get up right from where he is. And he literally has to go and sit still and be taught something different from what it is that he had learned and knew before. I got a question tonight. You know, it's easy to say you got to be willing to trust, try, and be taught. But the one that gets me when a devastating crash happens to you is to try. I understand, where do you develop the self-will? Where does the internal motivation come from when someone says, try, just try it again? I want to talk to you tonight about what it takes real quickly on Monday's Meal about trying. What does it take for you to try? Number one, let's jump back into Saul becoming Paul. It's going to take focus. Jot that down. Focus. Now that sounds kind of strange because Saul becoming Paul went blind, and focus seems to give an indication of a lasering in with your eyesight. You know, I talked on last night about how our eyesight is supposed to give us foresight with insight. That doesn't happen without things in your view becoming crystal clear. And sometimes you got to go blind before you can begin to see. And what I want to caution you on is focusing in on the moment. When you can't see your way, when you can't see your next step, when you're blind to what's coming, that's a moment for you to begin to focus in on what it is that you've got to learn and what you must change and what heaven's speaking to you by design to help you see differently from a different perspective. What focus does is it produces, watch it, here it is, clarity. Focus brings to us clarity. See, Saul becoming Paul thought he was doing the right thing, but he had to enter into a moment to get clarity to understand, listen, these people that you are after, they are my people. Sometimes we can be headed in one direction, thinking that we're doing the right thing, thinking that we're focused in, that we got it all together, and all of a sudden a blinding moment comes, not to keep us blind, but to help us focus and to really produce clarity in our lives. I hope this is helping you. Come on, number one, we've got to focus. Number two, you've got to have a fierceness about you. A fierceness about you. Right in that moment, somebody type it in, fierce, 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 fierce. Come on, type that in, fierce. You've got to be fierce if you're going to understand how to try again. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Consider Saul to becoming Paul yet once again for another moment. He has to have here it is, determination that he is going to get to his destination even if he can't see. Oh my goodness, in here. He had to have a determination to get to his destination even if he couldn't see. He's blind. But he had to have a fierceness about him that I'm getting to Damascus. I was going to Damascus with one agenda, but now I'm coming to Damascus with a different agenda. And he had to have a determination within him to be fierce enough to say, you know what? I am not going to stay here blind right here in this moment. So if I got to stumble, if I got to stagger, even if I got to have moments where I stutter my way through, I'm getting to my destination. I want to ask you a question tonight. Have you developed an internal fierceness within to decide that you're going to get to where you've got to get to in your life? I want to say to somebody that's in the second half of their life, that somebody that's 40 to 80, you haven't hit your goal yet. You haven't reached the pinnacle of the experience in your life. You're still trying to figure out, am I going to get there? I want to say to you, if you'll have a sense of fierceness, a determination, you can begin. Begin again. But let me just say to you just for a minute that you can get to where you're trying to get to. Come on, I got to land this plane. Last one real quickly. Saul becoming Paul, he had to have a sense of fierceness about him, a sense of focus. And here is the last one. It's going to sound a little bit like the one I just gave, but it's a little different. He had to have some fight. That's right. He had to have some fight. You know, I talked about over the weekend, my girls' basketball team, how we were, 2-19, and then we ended up being like 4-20 or 21 over the next season with extra games added. And then in that third season, we cut the head off of the snake. First game of the season of the team that beat us and embarrassed us really bad. We were down in the half, before the half. And all of a sudden, I looked in the eyes of the girls. They looked back in my eyes, and I said, what kind of team are we? One of them popped up, we're agile, hostile, mobile. You got to go back and check the replay at Begin Again University to be able to catch that shameless plug. But all of a sudden, they begin to remember how hard they worked, how much time they put in. I want to talk to you about the fight within. See, the fight within rises up when you've worked hard, you've put in time, you've put in effort, you've put in sweat equity, you've put in time of study, you put in time of preparation. There's got to be a fight. Watch this within, watch it now, within yourself with you. Sometimes you've got to fight with you in order to make the change that's necessary to get to your destined moment. My goodness, in here, you're not fighting against others and other things, scenarios, and situations. Sometimes you are just fighting against you to do what? Simply try. My goodness, in here, I hope somebody got these on tonight. Put them inside of the comment section, inside of the chat. Time is up. This has been Monday's Meal, manna to help move you towards your life mandate. Share this with somebody. Make sure you take time to try. And remember, this is manna that can help move you toward your life mandate. Wake up with Lady tomorrow morning. She's got Pastor Robert Van on. You don't want to miss it. They've got good stuff to talk to you about. I'll see you again soon. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.